Right, so I've actually recorded this video earlier this morning, but I was just acting like a total jackass. I just woke up in the morning, trying to eat the frog, as they would say, trying to record the video and all of that, but I was just not satisfied, bro. It was not good. So not in the zone. I was talking like a robot, and yeah, I just decided to re-record this video. And you know what? I've just came back from a pretty good training session. Got a few cheeky sparring rounds in. Probably lost a few brain cells here and there, but it's all good in the end. It was pretty good training. Right, so into this video, right? Question you ask yourself will shape your life. So, what if I tell you that there is a single question that you've always been asking yourself? Maybe subconsciously or maybe actually consciously you might ask yourself, right? So this question is what I would call a dominant question. Important question that influences all of our decisions and thoughts. And not only that, it also influences which information we want to keep and maybe otherwise any other information that we want to just shove in a bin. So this video I'm just going to talk about that. I'm going to start with my own personal experience. I had always been this people pleaser, if I could say so myself, as bad as it sounds, and as much as I don't like to be called a people pleaser, but in hindsight, yeah, I had always been a people pleaser. I have always aimed to please anyone who's around me. It could be friends, family, hey, maybe it's just anyone around me, even people that I don't even know. And us Indonesians, as bad as it sounds, yeah, we call them feet lickers. I was the type of guy who would get teased every now and then. I would get teased, and sometimes it would come to a point where I felt uncomfortable, but this feet licker here just said, yeah, it's just having fun. We're just having a bit of banter here and there. You know what? I'm just going to tell you my experience back then. Back in high school, back in 10th and 11th grade in high school. So yeah, quite a few years ago. There was this friend of ours in my particular friend group. He was quite tall, quite big guy, you know what I mean? His comedic resort is always teasing me. And I don't know why, but I've put up with it for so long that he would go over the line. He would talk about families and all of that. But for that 2 years, I didn't do anything about it. I just laughed it off. And to me, it was just not a good experience going into it. Every day we would meet each other. At first we were cordial and all of that, but after talking with each other in our friend group, he always turned it against me and just, you know what, let's just talk about them. So of course, after 16 years of this, I was just fed up. Now in hindsight, right, 21 years old now, if I can identify what was wrong with myself, it would be easier if I just look at my situation and turn it into one question. So that question is a dominant question. So you might ask yourself, what is a dominant question? As I would define it, is a question that you might ask yourself every day in the morning, or it could also be a question that you've been subconsciously asking yourself in the back of your mind for as long as you can remember. So simply put, a dominant question is a question that you ask yourself in order to go on your day-to-day basis. It basically affects the way you live your life. Now, upon self-reflecting, if I can just make my situation into a question, my dominant question would be, how can I gain people's approval and acceptance, making them look up to me more? And yeah, it took me 16 long years to basically realize that the fact that I would rather get stomped on to get a few laughs here and there, it is just so disgusting, dude. It's just not a good way to live life. Now, upon identifying your dominant question, I want you to ask yourself, I want you to be 100% honest, and I want you to be as critical as you can be. Now, I understand being as critical and honest as you can be is uncomfortable. You might find ways to mitigate the impact that you might feel after identifying your dominant question, but your best bet is to just don't think about it. Don't even think about the feelings that you might feel. You just have to be as critical as you can get. I want you to imagine yourself as a hummingbird soaring above the sky, just looking into every move and every decision that you make throughout your day, in and outside of closed doors. So I want you to imagine what kind of question this hummingbird would ask about the choices that you've made, and maybe your dreams and aspirations and all of that. I want you to put yourself into a position of this hummingbird and make your question. Now you've probably got yourself a question. Now how do you change it? But before that, before you actually make yourself a new dominant question, right, I want you to, let's say, prime yourself. If you want to get anything real good, you always want to be in the right state of mind. You always want to feel 100%, because 100% of you will of course generate a better output overall. So here are a few practical steps that I've came up with that will help you get in your prime state. First off, be mindful. Few deep breaths here and there. Maybe some people would call it meditation. How I would define it is way different from sitting silently with your eyes closed and just focusing on your breath. No, I don't think of meditation like that. But a few deep breaths here and there would definitely go a long way. Should do that. Second of all, visualization. I want you to close your eyes and visualize what kind of person you want to be in the next 1 month, 1 year, 5 years and 10 years to come. And just imagine what kind of question they would ask themselves in order to guide them through life. My third practical step, maybe some of you don't even like it, but physical exercise. Yeah, the good old physical exercise. There's nothing better than getting you in prime state. As I am now, I had just got done with a pretty good training session, if I could say so myself, and I'm feeling in this cringy as it's out. I'm in Zen at the minute, and yeah, it's a way better state to record this video like that. But you can also look up zone 2 cardio. Get yourself into a really light physical exercise, and I'm telling you now, you'll be way more calmer, you'll be more in a stable state to actually come up with this kind of question. Right, so changing your dominant question. There's this quote by Jordan B. Peterson that helped me make a better dominant question, and it is, if you don't like what you see, one of the ways to change that is evaluate your value structure. By evaluating your value structure, we can change what makes us unhappy at the minute and gives us a better perspective on what kind of person we would want to be. So this value structure in question is your beliefs, your principles, and your priorities. Your beliefs are your held convictions of what you believe is true and meaningful and important in life. It could be religion or any conventional wisdom for that matter. And in your principles are basically your ethical and moral guidelines that basically govern the way you behave, the way you conduct your day-to-day business. And finally, priorities. There's not much to say about priorities. You should be able to identify your own priorities in life, that's for sure. Now it goes without saying, when you've already identified your old dominant question, that is, it serves as a stark contrast between your old dominant question and your value structure. And for some of us, it might not even correlate at all. My core values firmly centered on being authentic and being as honest as I can be. And if I reflect on myself from 5 years ago to now, I honestly feel confused how someone would put up with that people-pleasing and self-deprecating facade. Now as I've grown older, I'm in my 20s now, I'm 21 years old to be exact. Priorities have changed, and with my new priorities, if I align them with my own value structure, my dominant question would be, how can I be a better and more independent person? So here's an extra. If in the unlikely events of you actually not able to come up with a question, there's nothing better than asking AI to actually help you make a dominant question. And let's just jump right into my screen. Different day. I've just realized straight after when I was editing this video, right? I can't believe that I didn't even record my screen. So going to re-record this part. Let's get into it. If you want to get anything real good from ChatGPT, you have to ask him to act in a certain way. Ask him to act as a life coach, act as a personal trainer. Right after you ask them to act in a certain way, you can ask your questions for them to answer. So let's start with, I want you to act as a personal development coach. Jim Quick in parentheses, just because why not? And I am going to provide you with my scenario. Please make me a dominant question for my scenario. Feel free to ask me any questions If you need any further context, is this understood? Understood. Please go ahead and provide me with it. Right, so ChatGPT is primed and ready. Now we just have to give it a certain scenario. Let's think about something. Let's go for the lowest common denominator. Let's go for the worst of the worst. I am a morbidly obese truck driver. Again, well, I have to clarify, alright? There's nothing wrong with being a truck driver. I think truck drivers are swell, they're so cool. But being a morbidly obese truck driver who gets drunk most of the time and drive carelessly? Yeah, carelessly. Now that's not good. I think about doing dangerous things to my children and spouse, but manage to hold myself back by crying myself to sleep. Damn, it's been through a lot. I am more receptive with self-deprecating and sarcastic remarks, so please make me a dominant question about quitting alcoholism. Oh, that's definitely how you spell alcoholism. And violent tendencies. Right, bring it to me. This content may violate our... Oh, come on. Grow a pair, ChatGPT. I'm really sorry to hear that you're going through such challenging time. It's important to prioritize your well-being and yada yada yada. How can I reclaim control over my life, overcome alcoholism, and channel my emotions into healthier outlets to create a safer and more fulfilling environment for myself and children and my spouse? Using my receptive nature of self-deprecating and sarcastic remarks to drive positive change. Okay, that was a little bit unexpected, that last part. Okay, not bad. But if I want to condense it, for me, if I were ChatGPT, if I had to condense it and actually make it self-deprecating and a sarcastic remark, how can I stop drinking and being a So, what's next? You've already identified your old dominant question, you've already reflected upon it, and now you've made yourself a new dominant question. Well, hopefully, with this new dominant question, you've gained perspective on what things that you should do and what things that you should avoid doing. So here's a few tips here and there that I can give you. First off, be authentic. It's time to drop all the bravado that you've had. Just polarize your old self and your new self, because once you've actually detached yourself from the old you can actually start, and only then you can start improving your own life. Set goals. I want you to set measurable and realistic goals, whatever it may be, and just think about how you can achieve them goals, and you better take actions afterwards. And finally, you can always just reflect and adjust, because we all know after a few while dominant questions get old and just doesn't align with your new priorities and goals in life. So reflect and adjust. Maybe it's then and there you can actually finally make a new dominant question. Go back through the cycle, rinse and repeat, got yourself a new dominant question. And that's the video there. This is supposed to be a 10-minute video, maybe, well, if I time it right, it's probably around 10-ish minutes. I've been recording for 30 minutes this time, unlike my 1 hour show, which I recorded earlier this morning. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself. That's why physical exercise is the key, man. Physical exercise, exerting yourself, nothing better than that. Yeah, that's that. Follow my socials. I actually wrote a written blog about this topic, so if you're more into reading and everything like that, I'm going to post this on Medium. So thanks for watching.